The goal of this video would be to help you to understand how, if at all, OpenAI and generative AI and ChatGPT can help you preparing for a serious job interview with a high-performing company. And long story short here, in my opinion, 90% of candidates have no idea of the use case for AI preparing a job interview successfully. Why do I say this? Well, I say this because primarily I see people use AI in my training programs, and I'll get to this in a moment. And second is I use AI. I have various features implementing in my training programs using AI, and I also use AI from my internal research purposes. Not to mention that I do have a background both in IT, so I understand a bit of how these things works, but more interestingly probably also in marketing and in sales in general. So I have this variety of experiences to be able to advise someone on how what's the best use case for AI preparing a job interview. So first of all, the main pitfall that many of you fall into, unfortunately, would be to endlessly generate examples of interview questions for your own role using AI, right? So it's basically as it sounds. So of course, I allow in my trainings to generate an example for an interview question for an example answer for your own role, right? But what happens here is some of you overuse that feature, or not my feature. You could simply use ChatGPT directly if you want, and you use it like 20 times to generate 20 examples for your own role. And what happens here is you become biased towards the type of examples which AI gives. Right? And if you believe the AI can beat a human being in behavior interviews, then there are a couple of things I should bring to your attention. AI examples will never be specific enough, right? AI examples are not your examples, right? And furthermore, AI is a great marketing tool. So in other words, if you generate 20 examples using OpenAI, they will bias you towards what they think is the best approach to go about preparing a job interview. And from here is not a long distance from actually cloning OpenAI's answers into your own answers, right? And this is a very important concept here, because actually what I sell in my training programs is interview answers which are role independent for the most part. And this is intentional because I believe that reasoning by analogy and being able to reason by analogy is a strength, is a muscle that you must build for a behavioral interview. Whereas if you have ChatGPT generate examples for your specific role, you're basically cloning their answers into yours. Okay, so you're not reasoning by analogy by any means, you're just cloning their answers, right? So this direct approach of using AI's examples will bias you in the wrong way. Again, they're not your answers, but they're not specific enough, and there's many other things, many other problems with this, but that would be a separate video. Now, where is AI useful in preparing job interviews? Because there are use cases where it's super useful. And the first case is useful. It's to demonstrate concepts, a story bank. Okay, so I have two features which I launched. One as of recently. Actually, the first time I launched it was the demo story bank for any company. So basically it would demonstrate how a story bank would look like for your given role based on some key behaviors, right? In order to help you to understand where you want to be, the direction you should take in order to build your own story bank, because not many people understand these things, because not many people used to take these job interviews as serious as some of you start doing right now, right? And the other feature would be to demo story bank for an Amazon interview, that is to demo story bank on Amazon's leadership principles, which I just only launched as of recently. So again, to demonstrate the type of stories you would want to prepare for the purpose of a job interview, and that what does it mean to have a story bank, because it's quite challenging to have a story bank ready for your job interview. That is where it's super useful. Or another use case where AI can be super useful is to evaluate your answers on various criteria. Specificity. So specificity is something AI will never be able to fix in their own examples. But if you ask AI to give you to tell you if an example is specific based on various criteria which I choose, not the AI, then that's where it's useful. Selling yourself on your strength for senior types of roles. That's also a use case where AI is highly useful, and various other types of these sort of filters to see how your answer could increase in length, because what happens in behavioral interviews is long, convincing first answers tend to do the best. And various other stuff. But the point is that if you notice, both the story bank concept as well as the evaluate your answers concept are indirect use cases of AI. In other words, it's not you querying ChatGPT, give me an answer, but you'd rather use a feature with someone who's more knowledgeable than you, who spends all day long with both AI and interview prep tools. That's when you reap the rewards of this new technology, right? So, and I like to call this an indirect use, but I believe it's clear that when you use a feature which uses AI, that's when you maximize your chances for that feature to become useful, right? And maybe last but not least, and I've said this earlier as well, AI's use case is for marketing. And marketing, I also tend to use more and more, to offer more and more AI features, simply because I put an accent on user engagement in my training programs, right? So there's a risk, a careful trade-off, which I must decide there on whether if I want people hooked on my training and therefore risk biasing them towards the AI, or whether if I want people to use the actual features, the actual examples, the role-independent examples, and stimulate you to build your story bank using those engagement features, maybe to make it to come back on a regular basis. So I hope it's a bit more clear on how can you benefit, if at all, from the use of AI, that is from features using AI, primarily features built by others who are more knowledgeable than you using these things. I hope you found this useful, and thank you very much for watching.